Like a lot of older live service games, The Division 2 has built up a ton of content, systems, activities, and of course loot. And for a new level 40 player, this can be incredibly overwhelming. A question I'm often asked by these players is, what the fuck do I do now? And my answer is to do the following 11 things. When you are starting out, you need a good build that will let you complete the content you want to play and not get kicked from groups. Every week I publish This Week in The Division 2, in which I recap all of the videos published in the last week. There are a shit ton of them, and at least 20 are build guides. So for a new player trying to work out which is a good build or not, it must seem impossible. But it is actually much easier than it looks, because so many of the build guides put out are just variations on 4 classic builds. A Striker's gear set DPS build, a balanced Heartbreaker gear set solo build, a turret and drone brand set skill build, and a determined chainkiller one-shot sniper builds. I covered these builds recently in my video, The Only Division 2 Builds That You Need, so pick the one that suits your playstyle best. Once you've done that, you need to go and get the gear to create it. The Division 2 has made this easy through its targeted loot system.
Nice.
You can toggle this on the map screen for all of the zones, DC, Manhattan and Brooklyn. But the drop rate in the open world is not that great. So the optimal way to farm for targeted loot is in Countdown on challenging difficulty. You get a ton of loot every single run, and currency for the Countdown vendor where you can buy exotic cash and complete some of your exotic library. However, there is a significant chance that if you go into a Countdown lobby as a fresh level 40 without a good loadout, you'll get kicked from the group. Countdown also has a small learning curve that new players might find a little intimidating. You might feel that you are running around like a headless chicken following the rest of your team in your first few games. So you might find Summit an easier game mode to get into. Loot doesn't drop as quickly, but it is a solo friendly experience that you can play at your own pace. The next thing to do is the weekly projects, which you can get to from the map. The reason why I recommend these is that not only do they reward good loot, exotic cash, exotic components, and optimization materials that you'll need later, named cash, XP and season pass XP, and so on. They also introduce you to the different game modes and different missions that you might not have done before, particularly if you use the level 40 boost to jump straight into the action. Right next to the projects is the Manhunt, where you can find the weekly scout missions, and this is the next thing that I would recommend that you do. These weekly scouts run throughout each season. They award XP and season pass XP, exotic components and optimization materials, and cycle through a variety of activities in the open world which you might not have experienced. The seasonal journey is great for new level 40 players, particularly boosted characters. You can find the seasonal journey here, right next to the season pass. The early journey missions take you through a lot of the core aspects of the game, including the crafting and optimization systems, control points, missions, different game modes and so on. These missions also reward you with resources, caches, seasonal gear sets, exotic components, exotics and season pass XP. These also unlock the seasonal modifiers and walk you through how these work through specific objectives. Again, a great way to stick your toes into the systems in the game. The seasonal modifiers will also make the game much easier as they buff the power of your agent and ultimately make even the hardest content in the game accessible. You can find priority objectives next to the seasonal journey here. These are random activities from throughout the game, including missions, game modes, open world events and even PvP. The reason why you should do them is that they award season pass XP and they can reward exotic items for your collection, like this one here. Completing these first 5 steps will also help you progress several of the endgame systems, which I'll run through now. As you gain XP, you will also gain shade levels, which you can see here in the inventory screen next to the shade watch. Shade levels reward you with a scavenging point, which can be used to upgrade your base stats in one of 4 areas. Offensive, which buffs your weapon damage output. Defensive, which buffs survivability. Handling or weapon handling. And utility, which buffs your skills. These buffs are capped when you get to 1000 shade levels, so that is your primary aim. Scavenging points are also a good way to get certain resources, particularly printer filament, which are incredibly useful for the expertise system, and optimization materials for recalibrating and optimizing your gear. The other type of XP that you have been gaining is Season Pass XP. The Season Pass awards cosmetics, crafting materials, faction keys, cash and seasonal gear, including 2 unique exotics. There is a free track and a paid track. The only thing on the paid track that you can't get by grinding in game are the cosmetics, so up to you whether you think this is worth it or not. As you complete certain activities in the game like missions or control points, you will notice that you receive specialization points. There are 6 specializations which you should level up as soon as possible. The specialization points are used to unlock the skill tree, which includes specific buffs related to the specialization, a unique skill and mod, and weapon buffs. Each specialization also has field research objectives. Now, depending on the version of the game you bought, you may have completed these already, but if not, they are worth doing as they include named gear and weapons that you can't get in the general loot pool. Your library can be found within the Tinkering Station. This lets you store attributes and talents from gear and weapons that can then be used within the recalibration system. This system lets you reroll one attribute or talent on a piece to anything you have in your library. So if you want to roll critical hit chance onto this holster, say, you can if you have it stored in your library. The value that you can roll onto a piece of gear is only the value of the attribute that you have stored in your library. Now, as you can see, I have max rolled ones for all of the attributes I might want to use, which is what you want to get to eventually. The expertise system is actually made up of 2 different systems, proficiency and expertise. Nearly every piece of gear, weapon and skills in the game has a proficiency rating. It is literally a measure of how proficient you are with it. You can level up an item's proficiency by using it, or donating duplicate copies of it, or donating materials. The most effective material to donate are printed filaments, which you can get from deconstructing mods, or you can buy them with scavenging points in the shade level system. Once you've leveled up the proficiency of enough items, you will gain an expertise level. As you can see here, I'm currently at expertise level 28, and if I gain another 14 proficiency levels, this will increase to expertise level 29. Let's do that now. Once weapons, gears and skills are at max proficiency, you can upgrade them up to your expertise level. These increase weapon damage on weapons, armor on gear, and an attribute on skills. As you increase the expertise level on an item, the resource requirement shifts from basic materials to rarer ones, including those exotic components you were collecting at the start. Given how rare expertise components are, you really only want to max out the expertise on your best weapon and skills. And whenever there is an opportunity to farm for them through special events, you should take advantage of it. I would avoid leveling up the expertise on your gear though until you've maxed out everything else you want to. Expertise buffs the base armor on gear, which scales very badly. The event timeline can be found in the seasonal menu, and it shows every event that will be running across the entire season. Many of the events reward accelerated XP, making them great ways to level up your shade level, or Seasons Pass XP, so you can complete the Season Pass quicker. If you've completed most of the things on this list, then you will know pretty much all you need to know to continue into the end game and the harder content, like legendary missions, the incursion and raids. But if you do get stuck on something, there is a comprehensive tutorial reference guide built into the game, but in typical massive fashion, it's hidden in plain sight. As you can see, pretty much every topic is covered, and it gives you a good reminder about the topic in hand.